Facebook Live, welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope you're having an amazing morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for taking time to tune in and have a chat with me this evening or morning, depending on where you are. As you're tuning in, I'd love to know, number one, where you are tuning in from. Number two, I'd love to know three things you are grateful for. Now, I do ask that every single time because I want to help reinforce you looking around in your life and picking good things that are going on in your life and training your brain to hunt for what's right with your life instead of what's wrong with your life. It's not a feel-good thing that I do. It's more based on the neuroscience of getting you to take time to focus on what's right with your life and training your brain to always go there. David, what's up? Kathy, welcome from the Gold Coast. Nice to have you, sir. Tonight, we're going to be chatting real quick on the concept of execution. And real simple questions to start off with is, did you pick a plan that you're capable of doing, you're willing to do consistently, and it's natural, it's your nature to do it consistently, meaning the type of plan that you will absolutely follow through with? Because the worst type of plan is the type of plan that looks amazing on paper. I mean, it's bulletproof strategy. You've thought of every in and out. You have everything perfectly defined, and you don't do anything with it. It sits on a piece of paper stuffed in a drawer somewhere. The second worst type of plan is the one where, it's a horrible plan. Like anyone reads a plan and goes, pretty sure that's not going to work. And you execute perfectly on it. That won't work either. But you need a decent, if not amazing plan that you're willing, able, and capable of consistently executing on like clockwork. So thinking that through, when you comb through your plans, we want to make sure all those apply. And we're going to have a few questions today to think this through on this chat. But let's see. Craig from London, welcome, sir. 2-3 hour power nap that you just had. Very nice. Grateful for the meeting tomorrow. Grateful for your friends. Very, very nice, sir. Thank you for that. David, grateful for you, the value you provide for us. Much appreciated. You're so welcome, sir. Thanks for tuning in. Craig, my business plan. I'll present it tomorrow on a job one way or another. Very cool. Make it happen. Tony, nice to see you. Mark's grateful for his health, humor, and home. Very nice. Welcome, sir. Chelsea, what's up? What's up? Welcome, friend. Nice to see you. P.S. When it comes to execution, my wife... Oops, what did I just do? Shut that. My wife was bragging about you, Chelsea, the other day and saying how you execute like a boss. So good work and congratulations. Jonathan, welcome, sir. Nice to see you. Let's see. As you're tuning in, if you know someone who is currently planning a lot in their life or has a plan but is struggling to follow through, would you mind either tagging them in the comments or clicking the share button and inviting them to come check this out and join us? Let's see. Jonathan, grateful for new opportunities, new job, having the time to be on this live with you. You too. Thank you, sir. Welcome. Who else has joined us? I do see that number ticking up. Now, what I'd love to do is, as you are joining, again, one more time, I'd love to know, number one, where you're tuning in from. Number two, I'd love to know three things you're grateful for. John, nice to see you from Colorado Springs. I can, I will, I must. I am, I can, I will. I like it. Chris, nice to see you, sir. Grateful for your wife making chocolate crispy buns right now. Life in Ireland. Nice to see you, lad. I think that's how they say it. Anyways, welcome, everyone. Welcome. One last time, as you're tuning in, love to know, number one, where you're tuning in from. Number two, love to know three things you're grateful for right over there in the comment section. What is up from Valley, Alabama? Jonathan, nice to see you, sir. So topic of discussion has to do with executing consistently on your plans. And let's comb through real quick and take a few surveys and see if you find this to be true in your life and business. So let's start off by saying, how many of you, by either a thumbs up or a raise of hands or a yes, I have in the comment section, how many of you have ever come up, like sat down and you wrote out the best plan you could ever come up with? Like, it was flippin' fantastic of a plan. It was amazing. You covered every in and out. It was a bulletproof plan. You knew that you were going to absolutely win the game with this plan. And then let's start off with opportunity number one here. By Me Too's in the comment section. How many have ever had the best plan in the world and failed to follow it through to the result? Well, I'm going to go type Me Too in the comment section for myself, because I've certainly done it. But how many of you ever done this? How many have ever had the most bulletproof, amazing, incredible plan you could ever come up with, and then you just fail to execute? So David says, yep. Chelsea says, yep. I see some hands being raised there. Who else has done this before? Anna, of course. Jonathan, me too, times 3. We all have. Yep. Had to walk. Let's see. Craig, I've always had a plan. Lorelei, yep, more than once. We all have. And so question, what kept you from following through, from executing on the plan, from following it through all the way until completion? What kept you from getting the result? And I want to hear, because I could tell you my stories, but I love to hear what's the reason, what's the story why you didn't get the result. So lots of us have had this experience, but what's the story? And I'll see if I can identify something special for you and show you just a minor adjustment that can help you really get this aligned and help you easily deliver. Okay, so we got not enough time. Thank you, Chelsea. I've definitely said that to myself before. Self-doubt, Randy, thank you for that. So not enough time, self-doubt. I'm not enough, fair enough. Got busy with a hectic schedule. The fear and of experiencing rejection, okay? Lack of mastery of the small things, lack of daily disciplines, okay? What are all the reasons? And I'll tell you some of mine. I'm definitely guilty of not enough time. The hill is too steep. It seems like too steep of an incline to keep climbing, meaning you run out of steam. You're going strong in the beginning, and then you curve up and go whoop, and slide right back down. Certainly happens. How about this? Let's start, and let me ask a second question. How many of you, in the time that you had a bulletproof plan, the most amazing plan you could have come up with, you had an absolute, the hair's on this side, I see it. Where is it? I've got a curl that's popping out. Let's see. Time management, lack of motivation, lying to oneself, lack of focus and discipline to the plan, okay? Now, let me ask you this. To be honest with myself and others, how many of you also, it was not, meaning that what needed to happen in order to get the result, we'll use a number 1 as it was your bread and butter, something you did every day like clockwork. You've been doing it for a decade. It's you don't even think about it. You just wake up and do it, meaning you've done it so consistently that literally it is your greatest strength. I mean, you're so strong at it. You're so good at it. You don't even have to think about it to execute with near perfection. So that's number one, was that's what it required in order to achieve this result. Number two, it's something that you were okay at, meaning you're decent. Maybe you've done it a few times. You've maybe done it once or twice and gotten a decent or good result, so you felt confident in doing it. But it certainly was not your bread and butter. It was kind of something you're okay at. Or number three, you were flipping horrible at what it took to get the result. And I mean, you were just doing the cross finger method, praying and hoping that even though you know you sucked at it, you were hoping that somehow it was going to magically work out. So I'd love to know, on the task that you had an amazing plan with, but you failed to get the actual result, were you, number one, a master of the skills it took to get it done? Number two, were you average at the skills of getting it done? Or number three, were you just plain out horrible at the skill sets of what it took to get it done? I think there's a hint in here that we'll see a consistent answer, but I'm curious. So for those of you, if you had a bulletproof plan, an amazing world-class plan, we've already discovered that most of us have failed at following through. Now, the skill sets, the actual habits, the routines, the things that it takes to actually follow through and get the result, were you absolutely near perfection with delivery? Like you were a boss at this skill. Number two, you're average at the skill. Or number three, you were horrible at the skill, just kind of crossing fingers and hoping it would turn out right. So I love to know, in the comment section, 1, 2, or 3, where was your level of skill and immersion when it came to what it took to actually get this result and deliver the plan, to follow it through? Phyllis says number 3. Jonathan says number 2. Anna, number 2. I can tell you personally, I'll put it in the comment section. I've been both 2 and 3 in this category. I've done things that I'm decent at and it kind of just failed because I couldn't deliver consistently. And I've done things that I'm horrible at, that I used the good old cross finger method. I'm like, I bet I could figure it out. And I sure as heck did not figure this shit out. I've done both. Chelsea says 2 and 3. Fair enough. So what's interesting about this, now here's what I want you to do. Think of something that you had a rock solid plan, like you spent time pulling up the most amazing plan you could come up with, and you followed the plan through completion. You got the result. Like you did it. You freaking claimed it. You killed it. You totally got the result. And it was better than you imagined. Now, quick question. Were you number 3, horrible at the skill set it took to get it done? Were you number 2, decent at it and just tried really, really, really hard until follow through? Or were you number 1? You were fantastic and you could deliver it without even thinking about it at near perfection. And what ended up happening was, because it was your bread and butter and you had a solid plan, you crushed that result. Now, you didn't have to be great at it in the beginning, but either through time or in the beginning, you built the skill and you mastered what it took to actually get the result. And you could do it with near perfection without even thinking about it. Jonathan says another time, number 1, totally came naturally. It's interesting. Who else had this experience? No, I can tell you from personal experience, I've had both work out for me. I've had where I've been a total rock star at something and totally crushed it. And number 2, it took probably 10 times the effort, but I've been decent at something and have been able to crush it as well. But it literally took 10 times the effort and like every day just to be able to get it done. I've done both, but the things that I've gotten through the quickest and the most effectively and been the most proud of, normally number 1, right at my bread and butter. Craig says, I've always crushed results, but how to push self and work? It's perfect perfection. Okay. Chelsea, if you work hard enough, things can happen. Absolutely. Lorelei, sometimes I feel I work better under pressure as it fuels me to push through. Now, what's interesting, Lorelei, I'd ask this, does it fuel you to push through and make you or force you to then grow? And that's what feels good because you gained a new skill set, you gained a new muscle, you strengthened yourself in a new way? Or does it feel good because at least you got it done? I'd be curious of what feels better, the fact that you grew and you pushed through something you thought you couldn't, or the fact that you just got it done and that extra pressure just helped you focus on it. Completely both. Okay, cool. Good to know. So here's what's interesting. I was reading this book. It's called The Road Less Stupid by Mr. Keith J. Cunningham. Huge fan of this book. I've been reading it for a while now, just a page a day or a chapter a day. And today he's on talking about execution, which is a great, great, great topic. And he says, start where you are. Don't let perfect get in the way of possible. Or as my dad used to tell me, shiny shoes don't help you walk any faster. I'll say this in a different way. The goal is not to get the anchor all the way back to the boat to make forward progress. We only need to get the anchor a quarter inch off the bottom. So this is where he's talking about when it comes to execution, when it comes to follow through and making progress, you don't have to make everything perfect. You just got to get it to work so that it's moving in the right direction. And so he says there's three questions. What are you capable of doing? What are you willing to do? And number three, is it congruent with who you naturally are? Do you have the skills, resources, or level of commitment it takes to actually follow it through? So it's a big question. What are you capable of doing? So if you want to take some notes, you might want to write down what are the three greatest strengths you have in your business, or the three greatest strengths you have in your health, or the three greatest strengths you have in your relationship. Whatever you're focused on, what are the three greatest strengths that you have? Number two, so let's do that. Let's in the comment section. In your area of focus, I'm not going to assume everyone's focused on business, but in your area of focus, whatever that is for you, what are your three greatest strengths? So I'd love to know in the comment section. Lorelei says persistence. I like that. So in the area that you're focused on, some of you are focused on your health in here, some of you are focused on your business, some of you are focused on your finances or your family. In your area of focus, what are your top three greatest strengths? Second question, persistence, influence, and determination. Perspective. Okay. To think outside the box. Okay. Focus. In the area you're focused on, what are your three greatest strengths? Next up, in the area you're focused on, you have to be true and honest with yourself. What are you willing to do? How much are you willing to do? If you go back to the plan you have and you look at what you've written out as your plan, you got to take a highlighter and say, what am I willing to do on this plan? Because sometimes we write out really phenomenal plans and we look at it and some of that stuff we're just not going to do. You're like, I'm not interested in doing that. I won't do that. I know it'll work. I'm just not willing to do it. I'll give you an example. I introduced a client of mine to my personal trainer who helped me completely sculpt my body. And I'll show you. we did this. Let me show you the picture real quick. It's a fun one. We did this transformation physically in 3 months. So I think you can see that. So that was my before and after picture in 3 months. There you go. And so what's interesting, I introduced a friend of mine to the trainer that helped me do that. And he said, okay, I want a meal plan. I want to feel young. I want to feel strong. I want to be in great shape. And so the trainer emailed him the exact meal plan. Here's what to eat. Here's how often to eat. Here's the exact amount to eat. Here's when to work out. Here's exactly what to do in your workout. Here's everything you need to know. Emailed it to him. The friend of mine emailed it back to the trainer and said, no, I'm not willing to do that. Trainer wrote back, okay, if you're not willing to do that, you're not going to get that result. He's like, you got to be willing to do it if you want the result. So here's what's wild. The plan works because it worked for me. It worked for dozens of other clients he's done it with. So I'm not special. I just followed the plan. I was willing to follow the plan. Now, what's interesting, when I stopped following the plan, my body started to transform in a different way. And it was like, ooh. So I know if you're willing to follow that plan, if you guys want to talk, his name's Douglas. If you go to bodybydouglas.com, here, I'll type in the comment section for you, Oscar. Bodybydouglas.com. There you go. That was the trainer who put that together. I think for, I don't know, $500 or something, he'll custom design a whole meal plan and fitness plan for you. And you can see his little picture there that pops up. He's obviously taking very good care of his body. He's done a hell of a job. And that's why I picked him. He lives the results, and he walks and talks, eats and sleeps and breathes this stuff. He's phenomenal. And so Craig says, I call it the trade. It's absolutely, are you willing to do the trade? Are you willing to do what it takes to get the result you want? And so first is, are you capable of doing it? Meaning, are your greatest strengths in alignment with what you want? Number two, are you willing to do it? Because sometimes we sit down and write out the most amazing, prolific plan we could imagine, and then we read it, and we're like, dude, I'm not willing to do half the shit that's on this plan. No, thank you. So you got to ask yourself, what are you willing to do? And not only once, but what are you willing to do consistently every single day in order to get the result you want? And then number three, is it naturally aligned, or are you going to have to realign what you've always done? And this is where, if you're decent, if you're number two, you're decent at it, you're able to realign it. You're able to readjust and get on track where you're willing to do it. And so here's some fun questions to think about on this topic. Number one, what is the real problem you're trying to solve? Number two, what's the obstacle or challenge that's preventing you from being where you want to be and achieving what you want to achieve? Number three, is the strategy we currently have not working because the strategy is not consistently executed on? Or is it a bad strategy? Because sometimes people go, oh, this is a horrible plan. And it's only because they're not using it. You know, if that personal trainer wrote out the meal plan and you only eat every other meal that he says and says, well, this doesn't work, it's because you're not doing it. Or if you eat every meal and you don't get the result, maybe that's a bad plan for you, because everyone's different. You have to have the plan tailored to what you're doing. I'll skip a few questions. What great strategies have I hatched in the past that are viable but not getting executed on? So that's the last question I'll throw in there. So it's just thinking through the concept. Number one, are your core strengths aligned with what you're trying to do? Number two, are you willing to execute consistently and do what it takes to make the trade? That's a great analogy. And number three, is it natural for you to do this? Or how can you make it natural for you to consistently do this? So that's that's the share for today. Hopefully it's useful. If you found it useful, click the share button. I'll tell you what, I love this book, and I bought a few extra copies. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look at people who've been consistently commenting and talking with us here, and people who click the share button. Tomorrow, I'm going to look through someone who shared and commented a bunch, and I'm going to pick you, and I'll let you know I picked you, and we're going to send you a copy of the book by Keith, just as a thank you for participating and helping us share the message. It's a great book. Thanks, Chelsea. Glad to hear you like it. I think it's great as well. Anyways, have an amazing morning, evening, afternoon. I will see you all tomorrow for another discussion, and I'll talk to you then. Bye.